All right, everybody, here we are sitting on the precipice of a full moon in Leo, and all week it is being completely fueled by really strong Aquarian energy. So by the end of the week, there's your full moon in Leo, but it's all fueled by the just every road leads to Aquarianism. So this is our overview chart. We are of the influence. We're going to do an overview of and triangulate for the solution later. So stick around. But the influence, it's one thing to know how it feels, how it's going to feel. We want to put all these variety of influences into one main feeling. How's it all going to feel throughout the weeks? That's what we're trying to do here. And I think it's going to be more of like the undertow, the ground, the foundation is all Aquarian, and it's very strong, and it's going to be building and building and building with both ease and conflict and pressure. So both, I mean, all roads literally lead to Aquarius. And then at the end of the week, we're going to have this Leo full moon, but with a T-square on Uranus. I mean, it's just really strong Aquarian. So we have loud, which is sort of a paradox or something you don't see very often. So rare and shocking rise of loud Aquarianism, something you don't see very often. It's going to be coming through Leo. All right, so that's the tropical astrology. That's a gist of the astrology. We're going to get into details. You're going to see all these different roads leading to Aquarius. Hop on over to the Dreambot. This is the collective unconscious. This is the collective dreams analysis of the latest dreams. And you know, a lot of you know the band called System of a Down. They have a song called BYOB, and it says it's a cynical take on anti-war stance, really kind of a metal song. But we're looking at the words. That run that I'm going to show you just reminds me of that song. So we'll look at that. And so then we have the I-Ching reading. It's the excuse me. It's the provider. We'll look in deeply into this and see how this applies. We have to take into account the change part of Aquarius. It's going to make it hard to provide or feel nourished or almost scared of surviving. There's like a survival instinct in this, especially as we bring the Leo in. All right. Are we ready? I think we are. Let's get started. It is my absolute pleasure to announce Mary Ducina as the Best Comment Award. Everyone liked it, Mary. Brightest blessings with our planetary parade. How's that going? We can't really see it here because it's just been cloudy this whole week, so I'll have to rely on all of your observations. Big medicine way for you, Aquarius and Pisces. Robin Hood meets up with the bigger life mission. All for one for all. Congratulations, Mary. Well deserved. Let's head to the Dreambot. And, you know, for those of you who know the system of the down, and bring your own beer, BYOB, or bring your own bombs. Sorry. It is like about like anti-war. They talk about dropping bombs, killer, heading to the party, going to have a really good time. Talks about class and class differences. Why do they always send the poor? You know, these words are war kind of words. Killer, shred, universe, city, flash. That's some scary crap. And we haven't seen anything resembling this infatuation in the collective unconscious in quite some time. It's been a long time. But I'm going to tell you, this is kind of above and beyond. We have both word drops and drop. So, I mean, that's, it could be bombs, but it could be other things as well. Other types of drops, side effects, memorable situation. So anyway, there you have it. What do you guys think? The collective is scared, or so it seems. All right, so you are here, and we're in this little band of dark space. It ends on that full moon on February 12th. We have these vertical lines. Now, what's of note here is that starting right here on this line, in between these two vertical lines, every single horizontal line has something to do with Aquarius. That's how strong the Aquarian is. And by the time we get to the full moon, obviously the sun part of that equation on the full moon is in Aquarius. Everything is Aquarius. This red, this is the cazimi. That's on the 9th. And then late in the week, we have the square over to Uranus going exact. By the end and the full moon, we have the T-square on Uranus. Here's your intensity chart. This is the rare and shocking rise of loud Aquarianism. It gets louder and more obnoxious at the end of the week towards the full moon. But I don't want to make it sound like this isn't strong. It might as well just be a completely straight line, maybe even above this line. If you want to imagine this line, well, I'll just move it up like that. All right, there's your chart. It's through the roof. All right, on Thursday, now, of course, a lot of these things are happening all week, but I want to take this first day on Thursday the 6th and just kind of give a summary of all of the energies and give you an archetype or an assessment of what all that kind of feels like together. And we start with the biggest energy is going to be the sun. Sun is conjunct with Mercury in Aquarius. That's with a very early square over to Uranus. The next energy is the moon. We're in a waxing gibbous moon. That's a strengthening moon. Its illumination is getting stronger and stronger. And by the time the end of this week it hits us, the moon will be in late stage Leo for a full moon, which is also a transition to the waning side. But for now, waxing gibbous, that's the dominant lunar energy. And she has a trine over to Pluto, making some powerful alignments there. Then we go to the next biggest thing that we've been talking about is Neptune over the North Node. We had a shift with Venus going into Aries, and she makes a sextile pretty tight, and it's real subtle because of all this other dominant energy happening. But fiery Venus, because she's in Aries, has a sextile over to Pluto. So there's a power move there as well, transformative energies. And then lastly, this, to be fair, was not in order. I kind of went out of order, but whatever. We have Mars in Cancer in a really tight trine. It's a synergistic trine over to Saturn in Pisces. So putting all that together, these alignments produce a powerful blend of intellectual, innovative, transformative, spiritual energies. The Sun-Mercury conjunction right here brings a strong focus on original thinking, unconventional ideas, and communicating in unique ways. The waxing Gemini moon is in harmony with Pluto, supports absorbing and sharing knowledge because it's all in air signs. But that knowledge is focused on catalyzing emotional and transformative upheaval, a synergistic match to the Uranus squares that are going to get stronger as we go, which point to more instability, more change. It's going to make it difficult to feel at ease and comfortable and in control of your environment. It's going to feel like everything is out of control. Everything's changing. Then we have Neptune over the North Node. We clearly have that mystical, imaginative influence, beckoning to imagine our collective future. As these things are changing, everyone's trying to imagine the future. And that is a direct representation of Neptune over the North Node in Pisces. Then we have Venus in pioneering Aries, sparks passionate new desires. Altogether, this alignment supports breaking free from limiting constructs, tuning into divine inspiration, boldly acting on ingenious ideas. Thank you to the Aquarian energy happening here, transformative Aquarian energy. Some benefits you'll get, especially on Thursday, but all week, is accessing higher mind for breakthrough solutions, especially at the cazimi that we'll talk about in a couple days. Sharing cutting edge knowledge that awakens others. That is in service of the Aquarius disclosure and opening people's minds. So the archetypes is the maverick visionary, the intellectual revolutionary. Got the cogs in the mind. The collective mind is busy. Cosmic truth seeker, ingenious problem solver, futuristic idea generator. So, that being said, it sounds busy, doesn't it? It sounds very working and changing, transforming. But let's take a little quick diversion into that powerful but quiet, subdued, because it's underneath all these other energies, this Venus and Pluto sextile, because it goes exact at 6:14 a.m. When a lot of us are waking up in the morning on 7 February. This alignment suggests that individuals may experience intense magnetic attractions as well as strong desires to break free from limiting patterns or societal norms, in particular in their relationships, but also finance. There is a heightened focus on individuality, authenticity, and willingness to take risks in pursuit of personal growth and fulfillment. This energy can also inspire people to challenge the status quo, advocate for social change, embrace unconventional or avant-garde forms of art and self-expression. You might feel, particularly on Friday the 7th, this subtle but strong passion, increased confidence, assertiveness, especially in relationships, interpersonal work, heightened passion and magnetism in romantic type relationships, union for social activism and collective change. So you might have the passionate reformer, the magnetic innovator, the transformative lover, the avant-garde couple. All right. Then on Saturday the 8th, this is sort of a transition, because we're going to start to really hone down on these Aquarian connections. But right now you have a strengthening square over to Uranus. There's a lot of squares, and the squares basically is outdoing the inconjuncts. Inconjuncts represent change and adjustment. We have one trine that we already talked about, and we have a lot of squares. So the pressure and the conflict from the squares is going to outdo the change, but there is going to be change as well. There's a pressure to change, okay? And that is a match, a synergistic effect to the strengthening square to Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, who's in Taurus right now. Sunday the 9th at 6:08 a.m. Central Standard Time, the 9th of February. Here's what we have. We have a cazimi, Mercury cazimi, at exactly 21 degrees even in Aquarius. Now, for you technical folks, just so you know, the inclination does not indicate that Mercury is within 1 degree inclination of the sun. So we have 17 minutes. We were within 17 minutes in azimuth, but probably not within on inclination. But nonetheless, just in case this is indeed a cazimi with just the azimuth, then we're going to see this amplification process of Mercury's energies, bringing heightened mental clarity, enhanced communication abilities, and a strong focus on innovative and progressive ideas. Now, during this alignment, individuals might experience a surge of intellectual inspiration, allowing us to process complex information with ease, communicate with your thoughts and exceptional clarity and brilliance. The Aquarius part of this cazimi brings Mercury's qualities with a desire for challenging conventional wisdom, advocate for social change, explore cutting-edge concepts that can benefit the collective. And just so you know, this delineation, the meaning behind this cazimi, the energies that you'll end up feeling here are a direct match to the Rave Mandala line that we're going to talk about very in depth later. And we're going to talk about it in depth because I did a deep dive on it because of this synergistic effect. So extra strong there. So keep that in mind. Now the squares start beginning to be a big factor, like dominant energy. Now we have Mercury at 23 degrees 19 minutes Aquarius, exact square over to Uranus in Taurus. But we'll include the sun in this delineation because that's just right around the corner. With the sun and Mercury both square Uranus, a powerful and intense energy that combines the themes of Aquarianism, individuality, innovation, sudden change, and that's the pressure to do so. The alignment suggests a strong desire to express one's unique ideas and perspectives, often in unconventional or rebellious ways. We are expecting a pressure for progressive thinking, humanitarianism, focus on the future. Future is very Aquarian as well. There may be challenges or obstacles represented by the square, and is particularly in translating those ideas into practical reality, because Uranus is in a weakened state in Taurus, so it has to work extra hard. And on top of that, in a square. And it's a square energetically distant from its own homeland. So in an extra foreign land really has to work hard. And so you're going to see some massive changes over the context of the material world because of that. Because of Uranus working very hard on a square. And this is a rebellious kind of an energy. You're going to start to see the rise of that Leo underneath. Full moons don't just happen right there at the climax of that illumination. You're going to start to feel these energies well before that, at least 24 hours prior. But it's that fiery need to express, and whenever everyone is changing, you're going to be trying to adapt to it. Here's the sun square Uranus goes exact now, so that's at 23 degrees 20 minutes. So it's back-to-back days of perfect square on Uranus as we get ready for the full moon. But the sun and Mercury square Uranus is represented energetically. You're going to feel heightened creativity, increased self-awareness, encouraged to be the true part of yourself, free expression, liberated to be yourself, opportunities to make a difference in society through progressive ideas, almost the pressure to do so. And then but you might also feel a conflict between charismatically influencing others versus defiantly pushing back rebelliously. Possible archetypes of these squares: Mercury and Sun square Uranus, revolutionary, out of the box energy, progressive maverick, charismatic change agent, radical free thinker, etc. And then we have the full moon. Full moon in Leo represents culmination of energy related to self-expression, creativity, personal power. This alignment highlights the tension between the individual ego, that's Leo, and the collective needs, Aquarius. So the moon opposes the sun in Aquarius. And of course, Mercury is there as well. So mental and mind is there as well, so also communication. So you have the planet of communication being shown on a very strong Leo moon, which means it's going to be very expressive. And also, this T-square can't be ignored. I mean, we're only looking at just about 1 degree, so very tight. Double square over here on this side, on the Sun and Mercury side, double square, and a single square Uranus and the moon. So the full moon in Leo amplifies the themes of self-expression, creativity, individuality, while Uranus in Taurus challenges the status quo and seeks innovative solution to practical matters. The Sun and Mercury conjunct Aquarius brings a focus, progressive ideas, humanitarianism, detached objectivity. The observer comes out. The opposition between the full moon and the Sun Mercury conjunction highlights the tension between the personal desires, collective considerations, while the squares to Uranus add a element of unpredictability. Massive change, shears of change, shears, energetic shears. So in this energy, you'll feel opportunities to charismatically influence through mental insights. All this energy from the full moon that wants to express, all of it is coming from everything Uranus, intention and opposition, and so it's pushing it out, okay? You'll feel an increased motivation to create positive change in personal and society, potential for transformative experiences and liberation from limiting patterns. You'll see a lot of this energy where the rebel comes through people's expressive voices. The lion's roar is all Aquarian. Yeah, it's one thing that you get the drama and the loud, obnoxious Leo, but you really tune into it. It'll all be coming out Aquarian. It'll be really interesting. Okay. You'll get the unconventional revolutionary leaders arise through this, stronger at the end of the week even, innovative thought provokers, visionary maverick artist, because we have creativity coming from Leo, progressive luminary rebel, evolutionary paradigm shifters. And this brings into question the nourishment, but it's metaphoric and also literal, because when material world is changing, that pushes us down into the Maslow's hierarchy at the first level, the basic layer. Where am I going to get my next meal? Am I going to be okay? And then also, like, the way that this economy, it's a bastardized version of capitalism. I would never call this capitalism. But it has morphed, making people assume that money is more important than food even. And I think that reverses this week because of all the change. Because we get pushed down, probably psychically, into Maslow's first hierarchy. Nourishment refers to more than just a healthy diet of food. This hexagram represents caregiving as well. We'll likely feel ourselves in a situation concerning sustenance, both literal and metaphorical. Remember, we have the first and fifth lines changing. So the first line changing makes us feel conflicted about abandoning our own nourishment to feed others. This is the when the mask comes down in a plane flight. You put your child's mask on first. That's that feeling or energy. But the fifth line suggests that we're grappling with knowing the right path, but struggling to stay on it. Because all of our routines are potentially going to be disrupted. As this is the ruler's position on the hexagram, they likely feel pressure around being a provider or authority figure while doubting their own wisdom or approach. This is also extremely commensurate with the Rave Mandala line and gate we're going to talk about here shortly. So keep this in the back of your mind. The fifth change line on the I-Ching says being the provider or the authority figure. Obviously, we're coming into the Leo full moon, and the Leo is the leader, but we're doubting. It's doubting the wisdom because of all the change happening. There may be a strong pull to break from conventional methods. There's the Aquarian side of things. So the transformation into hexagram 20, which we'll talk about in the solution, as a situation is involved toward a need for deep observation and reflection rather than decisive action. So it makes this Leo wanting to leap and sort of pull back. It wants both. It wants decisive action, but it also wants to make sure it does it right, which is the Aquarian observer. All right, let's take a pause and go to the summary of the influence so that we can move on to the solution or the recommended behavior. So here's the overview of the energy. Bold energies, passionate reform, ingenious problem solving, overhauling patterns, pattern disruptions are prominent throughout this week and crescendo at a full moon in Leo. Aquarian energy is very strong all week, and it even literally fuels the full moon with a Uranian T-square and a Mercury combust. All week, the energetic dam is about to burst at any moment. It's sheer, it's change, it's the pressure. And as the full moon nears, we finally get that catharsis. That's the Leo catharsis. Comes out in expression, not just verbally, but verbally, communicative. And we'll start to see people getting more and more expressive about the Aquarian release. All right, makes sense? Now let's get back to our solution. Transitioning to the solution, we have hexagram 20. This is overview. This is very Aquarian. Overview calls for composure and contemplation. An invisible energy emanates from us, influencing others without their being aware of it. Do not underestimate the power of this force. Here's some behaviors to keep in mind according to hexagram 20. Taking time to observe situations before acting. Stepping back to get a broader perspective, showing heightened awareness of social dynamics and hierarchies, acting with dignity and consciousness, paying attention to the timing, waiting for the right moment. All right, and here's our conversion chart. We are at the full moon, and we are in Tropical Leo. So we pass through Rave Mandala, Gate 4. We'll talk about that. And we also get Sidereal Leo because it's in that overlap area that Leo affords us. So we're in a dominant, at least at the end of the week, dominant Leo energy at the full moon. And all week will be, therefore, acting out more of the Leo energy as well. But first, most importantly, as I have been referring to all CIRF episode, it's this gate and line I took a deep dive into because I really wanted to understand it. It seemed very important, and it is. You're going to see how important this is. You're starting to see the early signs that Trump is kind of he is acting this particular line. Now, what does it mean? All right. So we're going to do a little deep dive. Be patient here. Then we'll get to the solution triangulation. Youthful folly is number 4. And line 6, excess. Why are we talking about this line? Because this is where the full moon is at its maximum at the time of the full moon. At the moment of the full moon, it's in this line. That's why it's really important to go through. Repeated and conscious abuse of norms will not escape discipline. That almost sounds like justice, but it's a lot more karma. Okay. The development through experience of techniques to apply self-restraint. The potential in a logical process to recognize when the understanding is not complete and have the patience to wait out the process. All right, that is a lot of confusing words. And so that's therefore I did a deep dive. I'm going to break this open and give you the real basic stuff that you need to know. And you'll hopefully start to see how a lot of what we're seeing on the global stage is this line. And you'll see what's not that line as well. You'll be able to ascertain that. You'll be able to discern that based on what I'm going to teach you here. So let me expand out so you can see my notes even. Youthful folly 4, gate 4. This is Rave Mandala. Gate 4, line 6 is the raw, innocent exploration with protected boundaries. So, allowing natural consequences that teach but don't destroy. That's the escape discipline part. If you keep making foolish mistakes, it will catch up to you and bad things will happen. That's this line as well. So part of the line is, even though when we're young at something or just starting to learn something, School of Hard Knocks, it's experiential learning, then you need to make adjustments. All right, let me back up a little bit. Here's the two main things that you want from this line: pure exploration in safe containers. This is the innocent fool's journey. It's a fool because you just don't know, and book knowledge does not help you in the game of this line. It's experiential journey, so you're just going to have to take a chance and just try it and see. Okay? This energy includes these attributes. All actions, both early stage, middle stage, and in maturity, they appear foolish to anyone who's watching, right? So in the early stages, you have pure learning. You're just doing stuff. So this is before any discipline or disaster. You're sheltered from discipline or disaster because you're just learning. This is akin to like a toddler, but we, as the parent, have created a completely child-safe room. There is no way that this child can hurt himself or herself, and so we can just let them. I'll be laissez-faire and let them do whatever they want to do. They're in this youthful folly stage. They aren't going to get hurt. They can try anything they want, and they'll learn. Now, in the middle stage of this line, you have breaking patterns before they become problematic. Like if that toddler just keeps on scratching at the thing protecting the outlet, eventually he's going to get into the outlet and then hurt himself. So now we need to adjust based on our learning. And that's the key in the middle stage is you've tried it, you've realized the effect, and now you're going to make an adjustment. Now we're going to try again based on the new learning that I have, wait for the effect, and then make an adjustment. And then how this manifests, this is where I'm hoping Trump is. This is what probably verified through some influencers, is maturity. You'll see maturity even though action looks like it's the fool, it looks like his decisions are foolish, it is based on experiential wisdom of his early foolishness, like bad choices, but now he knows. And because he knows, even though he feels or looks like a fool, it doesn't matter. He's still going to do this. This is still this line. This is the mature version of the line. You're going to make a decision that looks foolish, but it's going to help decrease the chance of a bad outcome. So you're going to help avoid bad outcomes despite looking like a foolish decision. So the highest expression of this line and gate, this is where you culminate this whole thing. It still appears like you're foolish to others, but based on deep experiential wisdom, you don't care about appeasing common sense, quote unquote common sense, or this is what we've always done, or tradition. It doesn't matter. Now, it's also not, this line has nothing to do with bucking the system. It's not a rebel. And it's also not naivety or justification. It's just sheer experiential wisdom, and it's to avoid problems. It's to abide by this top line, repeated and conscious abuse of norms will not escape discipline. And that is related to the things that we're finding. Those people will not escape discipline either. All right. So the highest expression of 4-6 is gained through past fool experiences, but past learning, fully conscious of consequences. You're taking responsibility. You're taking ownership for that. That's the goal, to accept punishment as the price of excess, despite recognizing the completeness or the incompleteness, a lack of patience with the process. Okay, so ultimately what you need in highest expression of 4.6 is the confidence derived from the school of hard knocks, but it also needs to be applied. It has to be married with the courage to apply that learning in the real world situations, because it will look foolish, because the other people don't understand. They haven't been through this experience before. Okay, so there it is. There's the rave. What do you guys think of that? I think it's just really appropriate for what we're seeing out there right now. That's why I did a deep dive. All right, here's our triangulation. 1, we have I-Ching overview. This is, taking the observer viewpoint. It's kind of slowing down. Don't be impulsive. That runs in contradiction to the sidereal Leo. Leo is impulsive, being a fire sign, so you'll have to really pay attention to that. But then you have the youthful folly excess. This is the little toddlers. This is the early stage youthful folly, or 4.6. And then we have the waxing gibbous. So let's put it all together. Look for their overlaps. And here's our recommended behavioral checklist. Mentally and emotionally rise in confidence, esteem, and boldness. This is not just the Leo, but the overall energies will afford this and help this. Become willing to shine your light out of the shadows and into the public view. That's the full moon. That is the Leo. It's not necessarily the 20, but the 20 doesn't recede either. It just is all. It's just more of diffuses from having to do things right away. All the while, get more mindful of the big picture. Don't get too laser focused. That is bringing in the overview. I-Ching 20. It slows everything down, but it doesn't stunt. It just takes a couple potatoes before your impulsive action. Ideally, I'd probably avoid impulsive action altogether, especially if you are already impulsive. Try to put a little bit of overview in here to slow things down. Okay, and here is mainly number 2, the youthful folly, Rave Mandala 4-6, willingness to look the fool, but not out of just, okay, so looking the fool, it doesn't automatically mean you're properly applying the Rave Mandala 4-6. It's not getting attention. You're not trying to influence others. It's not naivety. Think of someone in your life where you think that they're just doing this naivety or acting foolish just to get away with something and just to do what it is you want to do. That's not this line. And it's not out of rebel or defiance. It's about learning. It's about wanting to learn. It's like, ooh, what does this button do? That's the mindset. But then you can't, if you liked this button, hitting that button, and you get a reward from it, it doesn't mean you keep doing it. It doesn't give you the justification to keep going. You need to adjust based on it. All right. Straying from normal will be either for gaining wisdom or applying wisdom. That's the key component for number 3. And then lastly, celebrate, acknowledge that at the end of this week, you got a full moon. So ceremony in whatever is meaningful to you. Okay. And in terms of social, it looks like it's all in the green. The number 1 or the I-Ching doesn't necessarily go isolated. It doesn't really matter. But all the others, Leo, full moon, even youthful folly, it's pretty much social. So that'd be okay. That'd be good to go out, and it's not saying you have to go out and be social, but I think the triangulation is favorable for that. Try to be a little bit more social, especially if you've been isolated for a long time. And it is highly yang behaviors that we're looking at. It's big and bold. It's being out there, shine your light, be an influence, but don't do it impulsively. That's really the gist. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Okay. Particularly on areas that you're not familiar with, because of all those new things, you're going to have a lot of opportunity for this youthful folly, right? If you stumble upon something that your ego really likes, that's high time for addiction, no pun intended. So if you stumble into youthful folly, into something for great pleasure, be very wary. You need to make an adjustment there, even though you liked it. All right. Otherwise, you'll get crushed by it, right? All right. What did I misspeak with? Help me clear this up. How did we do today? Is this helpful for you? I hope it is. And I hope you have a wonderful week. It is a very exciting time to be alive. And I can't wait to see what this energy brings us. All right. Take care. We'll see you next week. Cheers.